Halftime here at the UNI-Dome, the 3A title game. Emmetsburg on top 10-3. And I'll tell you, that score should be almost even more lopsided than it is, because Emmetsburg has been in total control of this football game except for fumbles and penalties. Emmetsburg leads in rushing yardage 123-42 and 82-0 in passing. That means in total offense, Emmetsburg out in front of Urbandale 205-42. But Emmetsburg has fumbled in a couple of crucial situations, and Urbandale has turned one of them into a field goal. Emmetsburg has also been penalized 3 times for 25 yards. We're going to take a look at that touchdown pass again that ended the first half, and it was an absolute beautiful one. Chuck Winkleblack, and he just throws it up. Jeff Johnson running under, and then 35 yards untouched into the end zone. And that ties a 3A state record. And Emmetsburg is on top by a score of 10-3. And down on the field at this point, Russ Gondek as the coach of Urbandale, Denny Frerick. Take it away, Russ.
Coach Denny Frericks and the Urbandale J-Hawks. Denny, you're just a couple of feet away from 2 touchdowns and a 14-10 lead. How do you feel about the first half?
Well, we've been in this situation before, so I think our kids will hang in there, and we have to make up for a couple of mistakes that we're making on defense, and I think it'll be a much better second half.
Okay, Denny, we'll let you get back to your team. Best of luck in the second half. Denny Frericks and the Urbandale J-Hawks. Now back to Bob Hogue in the booth.
Thank you very much, Russ. And Russ will be joining me here in just a few moments. Go over some of the individual statistics for you. Ron Bout, the All-State fullback for the Emmetsburg E-Hawks, has 17 rushing attempts for 81 yards. His longest of the day, a 19-yarder. Terry Nagel, 6 rushing attempts for 42 yards. His longest for 11. He likes to pick up a lot of yards on that inside counter. Emmetsburg's Chuck Winkleblack is 2 for 2 in the passing department. One to Mike Klepper for 9 yards, and the other one that you just saw a few moments ago, a 73-yarder to Jeff Johnson for the touchdown. For Urbandale, John White has picked up 26 yards in 7 carries. Lee Knoll, 6 rushes for 9 yards, and Rod Klein, 3 rushes for 10. Todd Kim at 0% so far in the first half. He's tried 3 passes, and all 3 have fallen incomplete. Urbandale has punted the football a couple of times for a 38-yard average, and Paul Johnson for Emmetsburg 1 time for 36 yards. The big difference in the ball game so far, Emmetsburg's tremendous offense, and if they can just hold on to the football, it could be history for Urbandale today. Of course, these 2 teams met in 1975. At that time, Urbandale was the big winner, 38-11. And Emmetsburg has made the Dome almost their home. They seem to come here year in and year out, although they have won only 1 3A state title. That was in 1977. So we're about ready to get the second half underway. Emmetsburg on top of Urbandale by a score of 10-3. Emmetsburg will be kicking off to Urbandale. Urbandale likes to use 4 people back. They will have Brian Fries, Chuck Taylor. Rod Klein will be back there. And so will John White. And that's White and Fries, the deep backs, at about the 9-yard line. Dan Needham will be teeing up the football at the 40-yard line. He will not kick it particularly deep, but he does get it up in the air. Some of the Emmetsburg fans pretty excited. Their team has a 10-3 lead. A defensive show in the first half. We'll see what happens here in the second half as the E-Hawks try to protect a 7-point lead. Needham ready to kick off. And it's a boomer this time. and it goes out of the end zone. So Urbandale will start at their own 20-yard line. Russ Gondak has joined me upstairs in the booth. And Russ, looking back at that first half, what do you think?
When I was talking to Coach Denny Frericks there, he mentioned that they had a few mistakes that they'd like to correct, especially on their offense when they had those golden opportunities to score and could not. That's the difference in this game.
Todd Kim, the quarterback for the Urbandale J-Hawks, and he will give the ball off to John White. And White does not get back even to the line of scrimmage. Benji Fett, starter from a year ago, 5'9", 180-pound tackle, not big, but extremely aggressive, makes the stop behind the line of scrimmage. We'll call it 2nd and 10. Minderman, White, and Knoll in the backfield. And the big hole goes to Knoll, but he doesn't do much with it. Across the 24, gain of 4. Benji Fett again in on the tackle.
A couple of interesting notes to mention here. Both these teams are 3A schools. Emmetsburg has an enrollment of 337. Urbandale, meanwhile, more than double that, 818 students in grades 10 through 12.
That is incredible, the difference. Emmetsburg Urbandale nearly a 4A school. They split White out to the side, and Kim wants to throw the football. It's complete to Minderman, but short of the first down out of the 28.
Emmetsburg defenders on top of the play there. Would have gone for a first down. Beautiful completion there. No chance. Short of the first down by a couple of yards.
Mark Van Osprey, the quarterback, and you remember his brother Mike, the quarterback last year for Emmetsburg, now attending UNI on a wrestling scholarship. So a 4th and 1, and Terry Woody will punt. And it is a good one. And Weir will pick it up at the 18-yard line. And he's got some room to go. He needed one more block, and it was history. But he is wrestled down to the 27-yard line.
That was a gutsy play.
I'll tell you what.
I would not have picked up the ball if it was me.
That's why we're up here and they're down there. We're a few years older.
Not that much. Sun's beginning to set now, and the field is darkened slightly at the UNI-Dome. Of course, not as much light entering.
And up inside to Ron Bout. And Bout picks up 5 yards. Bout, who had 81 yards in the first half, picks up 5 more. Setting that offensive backfield again for you for Emmetsburg. Bout at fullback. Nagel will rotate with Dan Higley and Bobby Kaufman at tailback, and Terry Nagel, Pat's brother, is in the slot. 2nd and 5. Ooh, Terry Nagel took a shot and bounced back.
Stood him up there.
Mike Orr, one of the men on that stop. By the way, that punt by Terry Woody was 54 yards and is a new 3A record. Ooh, ferocious stop in there by Mike Orr. So plenty of records being broken throughout the 4 games. 3rd and 4 for Emmetsburg. And Ron Bout tries for the first down, but will not get it. He needed to reach the 38-yard line, and he gets only to the 37. Here's an interesting shot.
Up through the kettle drums, snare drums. That's what they beat upon.
Our cameramen will go high and low for those shots. Good job, guys. Ty Seaman. And Freeze will return the punt back to the 43-yard line.
Coverage nearly overran Freeze on that play.
Urbandale again in good field position. They have had it all afternoon. A 28-yard punt puts them at the 43-yard line. Brian Fink split out the left side, Lee Newell on the right. And Kim wants to throw the football, and he has Fink. First down in Emmetsburg territory.
Brian Fink, a little button hook pass on that. Just turns around, there's the ball.
Good,
down on the 40.
Good hit by Kevin Twait, the son of Dwayne Twait, only a junior, and he does a good job in there at the safety spot. And up inside to Lee Knoll, and he has another J-Hawk first down.
This is what Coach Denny Frerichs wanted to have happen. Wanted to correct some of those mistakes, get the ball downfield, develop some momentum. They're definitely heading the right direction.
The officials have stopped the clock for a little equipment check. As we take a look at the Emmetsburg sideline. Urbandale has marched the football from their own 42 into Emmetsburg territory at the 33-yard line. John White in the slot, Minderman in motion, and the handoff goes inside to Lee Knoll, who jumped a little bit early, and flags fly.
Line looked like they were a little ahead on the play, offensive line for Urbandale, and it's definitely against the Jayhawks. Don't want to disrupt that momentum that they've worked so hard to develop.
First penalty in the ball game against Urbandale. And it's now 1st and 15. They need to reach near the 22-yard line. Minderman in motion. And Kim wants to throw the football. And it is broken up nicely by Chuck Winkleblack. Chuck Winkleblack broke up that pass intended for Paul Minderman. As we take a look at it again.
Played it perfectly.
I guess when you're a quarterback, you can really read the quarterback's eyes very nicely.
If the pass would have been a little bit ahead, could have been trouble for Emmetsburg. Fortunately, it was slightly behind the receiver, and Winkleblack came up with the excellent deflection.
2nd and 15. And Kim wants to throw the football again. And it is intercepted by Kevin Twait. And Twait has room to run across the 30. Across the 40, he's pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Scott Williams finally pushes the junior Twait out of bounds.
And there goes another drive.
Interception.
Another drive broken up. The Jayhawks have been in Emmetsburg territory all afternoon, but only 3 points to show for it, and there's an example why. Another
that young
turnover.
lady is very excited. As Kevin Twait intercepts Todd Kim's pass and returns it to the 45-yard line. Emmetsburg 1st and 10. They hurry up and go. And Bout picks up 3 after first running into a wall of white and navy blue.
Emmetsburg has a lot of depth to their team. Of course, their starters, 5 of them returning from last year, and they have something like 15 lettermen. But it's interesting to note that all 45 players that you see on the Emmetsburg team, each of them has had the opportunity to play in at least one varsity game this year. And that's a good experience for the future. Perhaps that's one of the reasons that Coach Dwayne Twait has success.
I think that's great that everybody gets an opportunity to play. 2nd down and 7. And Bout gets the call and picks up 2.
Not much yardage there. It's going to be a 3rd down and 5 to go for Emmetsburg near midfield. after stopping another Jayhawk drive with an interception. And I'm sure that Dwayne's very proud of his son, playing a key role in this game with the interception and, of course, a couple of deflections.
He has done a super job in there. You can see why he's there. A junior safety. 3rd and 6, big play for Emmetsburg. Inside to Vout, and he will not get the first down, but he will get into Urbandale territory. Across the 50 to the 49, John Williams and Brad Saban finally wrestle Vout to the ground.
See what kind of coverage the E-Hawks can provide this time on the punt. Last time they nearly overran the punt. This time downfield, they're going to try to pin the Jayhawks inside their own 20. We'll see what happens.
Paul Johnson from his 40-yard line, and it is a high one. And a little mix-up there. Klein takes it away from Freeze, and he is tackled immediately inside the 15 at the 13-yard line.
Brian Freeze just sitting there with hands on hips. He cannot believe it. He's very surprised by the play. His own teammate just stealing the ball, wrestling it away from him. It's not to work, his teammates. You don't want to do that. Fortunately, he's able to hang on. Number 38, Rod Klein.
Dan Higley, number 33, able to come there and wrestle Klein to the ground. 1st and 10, Urbandale. They're pinned back at their own 13-yard line. 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Emmetsburg on top 10-3. And that's White.
Struggles forward for a nice gain of 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7.
The Jayhawks unable to get anything moving here in the 3rd quarter. As we get a little bit darker here in the dome as the sun sets outside. Inside to Minderman, and he's got the first down across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Chuck Wakelblack finally brings him down. Paul Minderman, a 6-foot, 195-pound senior fullback, picked up the big yardage and a first down for the Jayhawks.
He's the leading scorer this year for the Jayhawks. Paul Minderman breaking up field here for a nice gain and a first down.
1st and 10, Urbandale. And the handoff inside to White. White not as big as Minderman. He's only 5'8" and 178 pounds.
We're looking for White to break open the play today. He is the man who's done it the last 4 games, over 100 yards, 4 consecutive games the last 4 of the season.
One good thing that Urbandale hasn't done that we talked about earlier, they have not fumbled. And they had trouble with the fumbles in the last couple of playoff games.
They've corrected that problem nicely.
2nd and 8. And it's inside to Minderman, the big fullback, who picks up 3.
Fumbles against Emmetsburg. They're such a good club that they would make you pay for it. Emmetsburg obviously capitalizes on other teams' errors. You can see by their record over the previous 6 years, 60-6. Just not too many teams in the state can speak of anything like that in the history of high school football in the state. They're definitely an elite group.
2 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 5, big play for Urbandale. And Knoll will not pick up the first down. A long count by Todd Kim and Lee Knoll, unable to pick up the necessary yardage. And Terry Woody and his punting squad trot onto the field.
Let's see if he can top that last one of 54 yards. Which is the state record for Class 3A in the playoffs.
Pat Weir back to receive. He almost broke one the last time. And it's another good one, a beautiful spiral. Weir at his 24-yard line, and he gets to the wall. He's outside. And he returns it across the 45 to the 47-yard line. So Pat Weir nicely getting to the wall, set up for him on the left side. Watch him go.
And guess who made the tackle? Mr. Terry Woody there. He comes up with it. The punter participated on the team.
Good job. A little help there with Jeff Holliday. Bring Weir to the ground. And Winkleblack wants to throw the football. He has a man wide open over here. and it is knocked away. The ball hung up in the air.
Beautiful
And
defensive
Scott
play.
Linus broke up the play for Urbandale as Winkleblack tried to go to Johnson.
He jumped up and batted that ball away nearly in the grasp of another teammate. Emmetsburg going for their second touchdown of the afternoon. They would love to have that. They would open up a little breathing cushion.
First down, Emmetsburg. Dan Higley on the counter. Appears to be very close to the first down.
Spinning off tackles there.
A little premature, I guess. Mr. Higley gets 9.5. It'll be just short of the first down. Third and probably a foot. And Ron Vout picks it up.
So another quick quarter. Time is nearly expired.
That will probably be the final play of the third quarter. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score Emmetsburg 10 and Urbandale 3. We'll be back in just a moment.
Back at the UNI-Dome in Cedar Falls, Iowa, Emmetsburg E-Hawks leading the Urbandale J-Hawks 10-3, beginning of the fourth quarter. The third quarter was very quick, 12-minute quarters, and it took them only 15 minutes to play, elapsed time. E-Hawks have possession on Urbandale's 39-yard line, 1st and 10.
The handoff to Terry Nagel, and Nagel gets about 3 yards, where it'll bring up a 2nd and 7.
We're now into the last quarter, and we're only 11 minutes and 40 seconds away from the close of the Iowa High School football playoffs and the football season.
Quite a football season it has been. Winners already Trainer, Hempstead, and Sigourney, and Emmetsburg leads in this one. Winkleblack wants to throw the football. Complete to Mike Klepper, who is wrestled down near the 21-yard line. Troy Richards finally stopped Klepper after that reception.
Emmetsburg is taking control of this game. They're moving downfield on this last series of plays. It began at their own 20-yard line.
So a beautiful pass there from Winkleblack to Mike Klepper. And Emmetsburg has a 1st and 10 at the 21. Ron Vout inside the 20 to the 19, where he's stopped by John Williams.
It's going to bring up a 2nd and 8. Emmetsburg on the 19-yard line, looking for their second touchdown of the afternoon.
Mike Klepper came in for the play for the Emmetsburg E-Hawks. And penalty markers fly, and it is complete to Johnson, but I believe they will bring it back. Winkleblack complete to Johnson, but there was either a little bit of movement or not enough time taken for the set. Johnson had a little trouble with the football, finally brought it down.
It's a beautiful shot from the end zone camera there.
Illegal motion against Emmetsburg. They'll bring it back to 2nd and 13. The ball on the 24-yard line. They need to get to the 11 for the first down. That's Dan Higley. Picks up good yardage down to the 18.
That's the way to power it. He had his offensive lineman pulling in front of him. It's a nice power sweep.
Beautiful little play there to Dan Higley, who rotates with Pat Nagel and Bobby Kaufman. Mark Kinzer finally able to make the stop, and we have a man down.
Nearly every injury that has occurred here have been leg injuries, and you really hate to see this.
Unable to determine the number at this point from our position. We will pass it along to you as soon as we are able. We could recap the scores from the other games. Trainer beat North Kossuth 35-13 in the 1A game. It was Hempstead over Valley of West Des Moines 28-9 in the 4A game. Those games last night. Earlier this afternoon, Sigourney beat Hudson for the 2A championship 16-0. And we have 9 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the fourth quarter of this 3A title game, with Emmetsburg on top of Urbandale by a score of 10-3. Right now the difference in the ball game, a 73-yard touchdown pass from Chuck Winkleblack to Jeff Johnson, which tied a 3A record. Steve Milam is the man down, and he will come off under his own power, which is good news.
Appears to be a muscle spasm. That happened a couple of times last night. The calf muscle tightening up.
And it's probably similar to something like shin splints, and it'll happen because of this harder surface here in the Dome.
Definitely, and it's very comfortable in here for the fans, but you have to understand the players are running down the field, expending a lot of energy, and it's warm down there for them.
It's like playing on your living room rug, as a matter of fact. It's not as soft as grass out there. 3rd and 7 for Emmetsburg. They need to get to the 11, and Winkleblack wants to throw the football. Incomplete. And it appeared as if we had a little contact there between Mike Klepper and Troy Richards, but no flag was thrown.
It's going to be 4th and 7. They kicked a field goal in their first possession to take a 3-0 lead. That in the first quarter. Let's see if Emmetsburg's going to try it again.
Dan Needham will be coming on to try that field goal, a 35-yarder from near the left hash mark. Needham earlier booted the ball out of the end zone on a kickoff, so apparently he does have quite a leg. And the left foot is up, and it is no good. Wide to the left side. So Emmetsburg still on top 10-3. We'll be back in a moment. With Urbandale on offense, and the last play, Todd Kim wanted to throw the football on a 2nd and 8 situation, and we're going to get an opportunity to look at it again. Watch Todd Kim roll out under pressure from John Perkins, and he just flips the ball out, and that is an illegal pass.
That was truly a costly play. Not only would he have been sacked behind the line, but of course, he tried to throw the ball underhand. You can't do that, and it's 3rd and 25. They are backed up.
Under the shadow of their own goalpost, 3rd and 25 back at the 5-yard line. And Kim will keep the football, and he picks up about 7 across the 10 to the 12-yard line.
And the black shirts are there. They'll give him the short yardage, but we're going to let any big breaking play. So it's going to be another punting situation. We can see the replay. Quarterback cutting back against the grain. No way he's going to get out. Half a dozen black shirts right on top.
So a punting situation is, if they needed a big punt from Terry Woody, they need it now. He had a 54-yarder early in the ball game. From his end zone, Woody gets off a good one near midfield, and Weir will take it at the 50-yard line. And he's back to about the 40 before he is brought down.
Guess who made the tackle again?
I'll tell you,
Terry Woody is all over the place.
Woody is all over the field.
I know some pro teams that are looking for a specialty player, but they usually don't like their kicker going downfield and doing those kind of things. Watch this. He gang tackles. He just pulls him to the ground, throws him down.
Don't you run back my punt. 1st and 10, Emmetsburg, 41-yard line of Urbandale. And hurry up, go to Ron Bout. Picks up 3 to the 38-yard line.
Again, we talk about the clock. 7.5 minutes left in the game. Emmetsburg's goal, of course, to get a touchdown or a score of some sort, but at the same time, eat up valuable minutes off the clock.
Urbandale unable to get untracked offensively in this football game. Early on in the game, plenty of opportunity, and it went for naught. They have 3 points. Inside to Nagel, close to the first down, the 32-yard line. Jim Goodman finally making the stop.
It's going to be a 3rd and short. Emmetsburg, you can just bet that they'll bullet right up the middle, get that first down. We see the replay. It comes up just short. Number 24, Terry Nagel. 3rd down, a yard to go for the Emmetsburg E-Hawks at Urbandale's 32.
And the handoff straight ahead to Vought as a flag goes down. Vought picks up the first down, but it will probably come back. Troy Richards and Brad Sabin make the tackle, but it will come back and it will be a big one. If ever Urbandale needed a holding penalty, they needed it then, and Emmetsburg obliged.
Looking at the replay, trying to pick up the hold. There he is, number 85.
I believe it was number 55, Dan Needham. He's the kicker and the center, and he was holding on the play. Third and 14 for Emmetsburg. They have the football at the 45. They need to reach the 31. And Winkleblack wants to throw the football, but he is going to be brought down and sacked at the 45-yard line by Paul Minderman.
The big defensive play that Urbandale was looking for.
Winkleblack going back.
Got a hold of his jersey. No tearaway again. And he goes down.
Paul Minderman coming through there. The big fullback also plays linebacker, 6 foot, 195 pounds. And Mark Kinzer in there to do the punting chore. Only one man deep this time for Urbandale. And it is Klein. Freeze trying to put the block ahead of him. And Klein picks up some big yardage as he gets across the 30 to the 34.
We're down to the last 5 minutes of the game. This nice return to set up good field position by number 38, Rod Klein. Bumps his way upfield to the 34-yard line. And that's where the Jayhawks take over. 1st and 10.
5 minutes and 5 seconds to go here in the football game. And the Jayhawks need to move the football. Todd Kim wants to throw it. He's got a man open. Complete to number 98, Brian Fink. Fink makes a beautiful reception with Chuck Winkleblack all over him.
And it goes for a first down. 12-yard completion there. He goes out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Urbandale. 1st and 10.
Under 5 minutes to go in the ball game now. Todd Kim trying to fire up his Jayhawk offense, and it's the option to John White. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage and maybe another yard up to the 49-yard line.
John White, good hands on that play. That pitch was nearly wide. It could have been sacked back in the backfield there. Fortunately, he was able to hold on, and of course, Emmetsburg, excellent pursuit on the play.
Brian Phelps finally bringing White to the ground. 2nd and 9, 4 minutes and 15 seconds to go. And Kim wants to throw the football again. He has a man open, and that is Fink again, close to the first down.
Forward progress will take it down to about the 44-yard line of Emmetsburg, which will be just short of a first down.
Watch Fink
nice
come back for that pass. And Winkleblack is there to bring him down. 3rd and a yard and a half. Big play for the Jayhawks. The pitch goes outside to Klein, and he may go all the way. 40, 30, he's knocked down at the 20-yard line. Winkleblack, a touchdown-saving tackle.
Here we see the replay. The pitch out from the quarterback, number 38, Rod Klein picking his way downfield, trying to outrace, and he struggles to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for Urbandale, threatening to score. 3.5 minutes left.
Urbandale down by 7, 10-3, and an exciting finish to this 3A game. The pitch out to White. He may go all the way. 20, 10, 5. One more cut, and he falls down at the 4-yard line. So John White could not hold his balance. Mark Borman finally knocked him down. Another poor pitch, but White makes a great cut and falls down at the 4-yard line.
John White single-handedly 35 yards on the last 2 plays. Here we go. 1st and 10 from the 4.
1st and goal at the 4-yard line. 3 minutes to go. And Noel will get the ball down to the 2-yard line.
Clock's inside 3 minutes now. Emmetsburg leading the game 10-3. Urbandale desperately trying to knot that score.
It will be interesting to see if Urbandale does get the touchdown, if they will go for 2 or tie it up and go into overtime. 2 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the ball game. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Him at quarterback, and he'll keep it himself and loses 2 yards to the 4-yard line. He faked inside to Minderman and then took it himself. Minderman probably would have gained about 1.5 yards.
Interesting item. You mentioned go for the extra point if they score, or of course the 2 points. Sioux City Healing in the 1st round game last year against Fort Dodge, trailing by a point, Phil Carpuck elected to go for 2 points. It fell just short. They couldn't get the 2 points and lost the game by 1.
And that could happen here again. 2 minutes. 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Inside to Brian Freeze, who gets it down to the 1.5-yard line.
Clock inside 2 minutes. Of course, there's no question. It's going to be 4th and goal. They have to go for the touchdown.
And Urbandale has called a timeout. Emmetsburg on top 10-3. We'll be back in just... Inside to Klein. Touchdown. And we're within 1 point of tying this ball game up. Urbandale has just scored from the 1-yard line. A power backfield of Klein, White, and Minderman, and it was Rod Klein.
Bob, we have to go back to the opening comments. You mentioned this game had the potential to be the most exciting of all 4. You called it. Here it is, 10-9. The score that brought it, that result. Okay, the question is, extra points or go for 2 points?
They're talking it over right now. I do see a gentleman on the field putting his kicking shoe on. So we might be going for the tie here. Excuse me, the man going for putting his shoe on was just fixing the shoe. That was Rod Klein, who scored the touchdown. So it would appear that Urbandale is going to go for all the marbles. They are going to go for the win. And Denny Frerick sends in the big play man, Todd Kim, who has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, 5'10", 160-pound senior. Emmetsburg on top, 10-9. The ball on the 3-yard line. If they get it in, Urbandale on top, 11-10. If not, Emmetsburg controls the lead. And Kim is sacked at the 10-yard line. Urbandale will not get the extra point. Emmetsburg has hailed. They lead 10-9.
And the crowd is erupting. The biggest play of the game, of course, after the touchdown run. They can sit on the ball. There's 1:49 left in the game. Emmetsburg leading Urbandale 10-9. And we see the replay. Appeared to be some kind of confusion back there.
One of the men breaking in was Marty Elbert. And he wrestled Kim to the ground. Kim wanted to throw the football to go to either his split end Brian Fink or to Doug Allen, but just not enough time.
Urbandale has to get possession of the ball. You can anticipate the possibility, distinct possibility,
1 minute and 49 seconds to go in this football game. And Emmetsburg has just called a timeout. They have 2 left. They want to talk over this situation because Urbandale will probably try an onside kick. And that's the story. Emmetsburg 10, Urbandale 9. An exciting finish to the 4th game of our coverage. You can almost feel this dome pulsating as almost every single fan is on his feet. Denny Frerick has talked it over with his kicker, Mark Kinzer, and you can almost bet that we'll see an onside kick. The ball must reach the 50-yard line, 10 yards, unless it is touched by an Emmetsburg player. And here it is. And Emmetsburg has recovered the football, so they will get it back. And that is Dan Needham. Dan Needham has recovered the onside kick at the 48-yard line. Dan Needham, the kicker for Emmetsburg, has come up with the onside kick by Mark Kinzer. So Urbandale must get the ball back, and they have only 1 timeout. Ron Vout picks up a yard, and we're now inside 1 minute and 30 seconds. The clock ticking away. Emmetsburg will take as much time as they can. Inside 1 minute 10 now. Just trying to kill the clock. The give to Ron Vout, and he's brought down at the 43-yard line, and Urbandale calls a timeout with 53 seconds. .53 seconds to go in this football game. And the Emmetsburg E-Hawks can almost smell that 3A state title. But a valiant comeback by the Urbandale J-Hawks. Rod Klein punching it in on a 4th and 1 situation with under 2 minutes to go. And Urbandale valiantly tried for 2 and did not come up with it. Todd Kim was sacked. Dan Higley picks up a yard, and it will be 4th down. And Urbandale may get the ball back, maybe for a play. We're inside 40 seconds. But Emmetsburg, of course, will try to keep the clock ticking away. Urbandale unable to stop it, except by a change of possession now. Emmetsburg just waiting. And it appears that they are going to take a 5-yard penalty for too much time. And the clock stops with 15 seconds to go. And the ball will be marched off 5 yards against Emmetsburg. Delay of game with 15 seconds to go in this one. Emmetsburg on top by 1, 10-9. Paul Johnson in there to try this punt, and Urbandale is coming. Rod Klein takes it at his 15-yard line, and he is tackled before he gets out of bounds. 7 seconds, the clock is stopped, but this will be the last play if they can get it off. The clock is running, 5 seconds and counting. Kim wants to throw the football. Penalty markers all over the place. And Kim tries to run it out of there. Fumbles, and this ball game may be over. Penalty markers all over, so we will wait. The penalty is against Urbandale, and so Emmetsburg has won the 3A title. Emmetsburg, a victor over Urbandale, 10-9. We'll be back in just a moment.